Hi, my name is Stephen Hamlin, and I'm here with Sergio Garcia, and on episode 2 of Platinum Standard, things are heating up. No?
Yeah.
No laugh?
That's
okay. And we're here to talk about Antora Energy, who's a energy provider who does thermal batteries in San Jose, California. And we think they're doing an incredible job at being very clear in their messaging. They have an amazing website, which is why you're here to talk with us today. And we're excited to dive into it. We've never worked with Antora Energy before, but we're big fans of theirs, and everything we're going to talk about in this video only reflects our own personal observations. I think for highly technical companies, there's always when you talk about content, there's always a rush to over-explain yourself sometimes. Their earned media is really powerful. They go to their stuff from CNN, their stuff from BlackRock, obviously, and they bring their narrative effectively to a lot of really important channels that build a lot of trust. You know, there's something that goes off in your brain whenever you go to a company's page and there's, you know, your CNN, your Breakthrough Energy in terms of this space. And you could tell that the C-suite at Antora really knows and really cares about that brand. And they have that simplicity too. When, you know, their chief scientist or their CEO go on stage, it's not some departure where they're incredibly verbose and you kind of lose the feeling of the brand. They carry it really, really well.
I think the way they communicate is they're talking to you, not at you. 'Cause sometimes what can be being very verbose or explaining too much or giving too much information it gives the impression of like, look how smart we are, look how better we are. And this is very done in a very simple, clear format where it allows for that kind of like the videos you were watching. Again, back to being digestible, you know, it's very done and catered for a broader audience that doesn't specifically have to be about investors or like CMOs, CFOs, right? Typically, sometimes content is created, marketing is targeted to a very particular audience and therefore is allowed to follow certain rule sets. In this particular case, it's a lot more clear.
They're very customer and solution oriented too. I was really struck by, I think pretty much the end of every page on their website, it's, what can we do for you? Right. It's not, sometimes brands get a little boastful. They say that we've achieved this, whatever. But they're very down to earth and practical in the way that they say, we can deploy this energy for you, for petrochemical, for LNG, for blue ammonia, any industrial process. How can we help, essentially? And it's really powerful.
I mean, one of those main pieces like of any business is the front end of things, and one of those main things is the website, right? That's the first thing that almost everybody sees. It's kind of like you're a retail store, you're window shopping. It's like your or the front page, you know what I mean? It's the first thing everyone's going to experience. So I think the way they laid out and handle their content is very intelligent. So again, back to use the term counterintuitive, it's counterintuitive because it's actually very simple, very visual, very strong imagery, video, typography, not a lot of use of color.
No stock
imagery. There's an inherent value in invest in, as a company, organization, or whoever you are, to invest in yourself, right? Mm-hmm. It isn't always the best thing to do just to follow like stock general photography. I think setting a budget and just investing in your brand, it's yourself, right? It's your name, right? And the way they treated it was very well. So they did a lot of that, especially when we're talking about the people. Those are real people. That's their own team.
Yeah.
That's, if I can go to their company, I would probably see the same people I'm seeing in their pictures, working at, you know, or running into them in the cafeteria or whatever.
Yeah.
So the imagery, the stock footage, or not even the stock footage, but the imagery and the drone footage, you know, it's all them. And so I think that makes their storytelling a lot more compelling and a lot more credible, right? And just the way they laid it out, it's just not a lot of copy. So I was very impressed with the way I was able to understand a very complex topic without doing a lot of reading. It's very heavily visually based. I think one of the sections, I can't remember what.
The how it works section, that little mid scroll with the thermal battery. Yeah, that lights up for you.
I was like, man, we could have written like paragraphs and paragraphs about it, right? But they just show you, and they did it in such a way it's like entertaining. It's like I like the entertainment value behind it, even though it's not meant to be entertaining. It is entertaining. You know, I'm learning something new, and I'm learning something that's changing the world. I think that's something that a lot of other B2B companies can learn from is the eloquence and brevity sometimes. You know, sometimes the less said is better. Yeah. And speaking bullet points and driving the message clearly with obviously some creativity is going to give you better results than trying to tell everything about yourself and why you're so great. You know what I mean? It's again, it sounds counterintuitive, but sometimes less is more. And I think that's one lesson that B2B can learn from, aside from the obvious, having a clean website and these standard things. Right. You know,
I think clarity of message, clarity of design. It's clear that there are a lot of really talented copywriters and marketing folks that took what is probably like a 10-page white paper about thermodynamics into a really compelling, clean website.
What they've created is a very attractive brand from a visual standpoint. It's attractive and engaging, and the reason it's so is because they've taken the time to invest in themselves. So everything that you're seeing, there was an inherent cost to it because they had to put in the time and the work and effort, but it shows. And doing that, especially in the age of AI where things can be reproduced and can look pretty real, the fact that they still took the time to hire photographers, talk to their people, work on their messaging to reduce it to clear, all of that took time. And so what it does is that it produces trust, right? Mm-hmm. I reach this business, this brand, and I start engaging with it, and I trust you because I can see because things were so well laid out and simple, I can follow their messaging properly. I can move across your website well, you know. I don't leave, I don't bounce. And then I start seeing the testimonials and covering the videos with the people.
Right.
All of that was very authentic, and it's investment, right? That doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build something like that.